Hey guys, I'm Nix and you're watching Car Guide Philippines. This is the Subaru WRX, and if you're a Subaru fan, you'll know this as the predecessor of the Subaru Impreza WRX, which heritage-wise is Subaru's rally car that has won so many championships throughout the ages. And now they decided to separate the Impreza and the WRX, with the Impreza being the everyday car in other countries and this one being the sporty version of it. Just like in a regular car guide fashion, let us go from front to back and talk about from the outside to the inside and everything about the car. Let's start with the front over here. Me personally, I love this front hood scoop because it is akin to the legacy of the WRX, which is the rally version of the Impreza. And you know, fun fact, this was engineered so that it looks cool, but also in case it hits a pedestrian, it is very safe as well. That is the amount of detail Subaru has put into their vehicles. And with the WRX, you're gonna have like this plastic cladding or hard plastic cladding all throughout. And I know in the press photos, it looked kind of weird. You know, we're not used to it. But in person, it actually looks really nice. I'll give it that. And you know, my cameraman, he does like the color. Personally, I wish it was in Subaru blue. But hey, who are we kidding over here? This is like the color 2024 onwards. And in person, especially when the car is dirty like right now, it actually looks good. So good job on the color orange. And then here, you have the shark's fin over here. And then here, the wheels, they're kind of, I think they're wide. Let me check. Okay, so the wheels, 245, 40 R18. That's pretty wide for a set of tires for like this size of a car. So you can tell that when it comes to the WRX, just like the all-wheel drive, Subaru wants to make sure that this car is all about grip. It's all about being planted. And when I talk about how this drives later, you're going to see what I mean. And then here at the back, lastly, you have this nice Subaru C-shape tail light and this lip spoiler over here. So yeah, like if you're a Subaru fan, you know they love to put wings on the rally cars, but I think this is a better implementation of the rear. Okay, now that we have the exterior, let's go to inside the car. Now we're inside the Subaru WRX, and as you can see, the seating right away, it's very aggressive, it's very sporty, and it will take some time to get used to, but hey, with a car like this, you're sacrificing a little comfort for a whole lot of sportiness, right? And once you're seated properly, it actually feels good. And then when it comes to the interior, and I say this in a good way, it looks like a typical Subaru. I love the layout. I always love the layout of Subarus because when it comes to the steering wheel, you have all the controls you need at your reach. The paddle shifters, all the buttons, the safeties, the info. It's all right here. You don't have to reach for anything to get things done. And when you do, you're most likely on a stop or you'd park. So like the other buttons here for like the trunk, the stability control, the lights, they're all here. And then here you have the settings for the driver's seat, up to 2 users, so it has memory settings. And then nowadays, a lot of people are going like full-on digital instrument cluster. I really love that they stuck with the analog instrument cluster with the white and reds. So high contrast, so nice to look at, it's not disturbing. And they have little icons here that, you know, for the Subaru eyesight, for the warnings, for the doors. It's a fantastic implementation of giving info to the driver. And then, of course, you have the Starlink over here with this massive infotainment system over here. What can I say? Like, just like the other Subarus, it's so easy to use. It's so easy to connect your phone. And then here, you have the auxiliary plug for your old school people. You have USB ports over here. This is filled with a lot of gadgetry. And I can't say it enough. It feels good. For a car that's supposed to make you feel sporty, I love that it still is practical as a whole. Okay, now that we got this part of the car done, let us now go to the back seat. So we're here at the back seat, and I have to say, when it comes to headroom, just enough. shoulder room, it's actually very generous when it comes to shoulder room. And then, oh, I forgot, up here there's like a sunroof over here. But I mean, we're in the Philippines, who really looks at that, right? But the stuff that I like here is it has aircon vents so that we don't have to be fighting aircon with the people at the front. And it has two USB ports over here. So if you need to charge, right here. And then you have this nice armrest over here with the cup holders. And I'll probably use it in this configuration if I'm sitting here at the back because I don't want to get too intimate with whoever's on the other side. You know, keep distance, I say. And yeah, like when it comes to the back, it has everything I'd like practically. Cup holders, USB charger, aircon vents, and a good amount of space. But I think the most important part of what makes the WRX like special in a practical way is it actually comes with rear seats that are usable. Usually a car in this caliber, in a sports car, forget about the back seats. But the fact that with this car, sure, it's not as sporty as an actual sports car. The fact that you have this makes it practical. And to balance between sports car and practical car, it's a thin line to walk in. And with the Subaru WRX, I think it plays it off really well. And okay, before we go to the driving, we must look at the trunk of the car because, I mean, that's what makes it practical. So let's go to the trunk. Okay, so let's go quickly to the trunk because it's just like any other trunk. And I think that's a good thing. It's just like any other trunk. So in the interest of time, we didn't remove our stuff. But as you can see, the trunk is really generous when it comes to space. And I guess that's about it. I mean, what else is there, right? But the fact it has a trunk, you get another sports car, you barely have a trunk. With this one though, it's practical. What else can I say, right? Okay, now that we've all been waiting for, let's go talk about the driving of this car. So this is the driving impression of the Subaru WRX. And let's go. Okay, first off, I got to say that for you fanboys out there who are asking, why isn't it called the Impreza? Why is it just WRX? And long story short, because Subaru decided to split the two. Impreza is the regular car, and the WRX is the sporty car. Now, I cannot say that it's a sports car because I don't think it's in the list. But more than that, when I think sports cars, I think of cars that are lightweight, while having a good amount of horsepower. For this case, the Subaru WRX, it does feel heavy when you're going slow. But because of that, with its 2.4-liter turbocharged engine, oh my god, this car can kick. Like in every other car guide video, we always start from top to bottom. And let's start with the steering wheel. So if you notice, we actually have a cameraman right now instead of a GoPro. Lucky to have my cameraman. And when he tried this car, I like what he said. He did say that it feels weighted and not heavy. And I agree with him. And what do we mean by that? It means that if you're, driving this for a long time or like around the city, you don't and you won't feel tired. And then the best part about it is when you're trying to put the car, when you're positioning it where you want it to go, that's where you start to realize, wow, like it feels weighted in a sense that it's easy to put it where you want it to go. And that characteristic on the steering wheel, it's really tough to get right. In fact, a lot of manufacturers, they have engineers just to sort that out. And I think the WRX does a great job in that. So like reading a book, let's start with the brakes first. This thing will stop on a dime. So I'm going at like 40. If I slam onto the brakes, boom shakala. Like, it's in an instant. And that's at 40. Imagine doing it at 60, at 100. My God, the brakes on the WRX are phenomenal. And usually when you have like a sports brakes, it's usually hard to brake slowly. But you're not noticing. I'm actually gradually braking right now. And that's the genius of like the brakes of the WRX. It's very overlooked when it comes to cars braking, when you're able to balance the responsiveness, the aggressiveness, but also at the same time to have a very gentle braking. Man, you can tell that the engineers in Subaru put a lot of thought into this car. And now, okay, the moment of truth. How's the acceleration of this car? Okay, so like what I said, the reason why it's hard for me to call this a sports car is because it's heavy and you'll feel it. So let me go here. So we're at the slow stop, and then I'm gonna pedal to the metal. And I'm at Sports Plus mode. You really feel the weight of the car. But once it starts rolling, I'm telling you, it's starting to feel like a sports car when it starts rolling. And that's the fun part about this car. If you, like it's like the jack of all trades. If you need it to drive slowly and efficiently, it can do so. But if you want to have fun, even on small roads, it can be had. And you know, it's not every day you have a car that can be practical and at the same time make driving an occasion. Usually you have two cars for that. You have a second car for like a beater every day, and then you'll have a car like for the Sundays. But to have both in one, oh, the way it takes turns, I'm telling you guys, like it feels confident, it feels planted, thanks to the boxer engine layout. What more can you ask for? What more can you ask for? Yeah, the price is a bit on the hefty side, right below 3 million. But all things considered, especially with sedans costing at the 2+ million, I think more than ever, the WRX is looking more of a real car to own than ever. Especially if you want to have the genuine fun and the occasion of driving a sporty car. And that's what the WRX is all about. Having all that in one. Can't say it enough, guys. Like, my cameraman, me, we've been having fun with this car, not gonna lie. And for good reason. Okay, now on to our conclusion. So, who is this car for? If you're looking for a legit sports car, this isn't it. Because in reality, this is a heavy car. If it comes to sports cars, it's all about lightweight vehicles. But if you're looking for a sporty car, but that's practical at the same time, the Subaru WRX hits those right notes really well. In fact, I believe that being both practical and sporty is a very thin line to walk at. And the Subaru WRX does that so well. You know, I have this certain category of cars where I call if you're only allowed to have one car. And actually, that's why I own a Toyota Hilux, because it is the one car that can do it all for me. But if you're someone that wants to enjoy the occasion of driving and yet still bring your family around and with stuff at the back, I think it's about time you can tell your wife, honey, I think we need a sedan, and point her to this car, the Subaru WRX. A car that you can have fun and be practical as well.